Hello again, Izzy at Digital Goja Showrooms. Well, we have here a Fujifilm X-T2, and again, I scoured the internet for these questions. I checked YouTube, Amazon, eBay, and I found the most asked questions about the Fujifilm X-T2. If this video helps you out, remember to hit us up with a like button underneath and subscribe to the channel for future unboxing sessions and tutorials, and also to share with fellow photographers. And don't forget, when in Miami, visit me at Digital Goja Showrooms. Here are some beginner questions about how to use the new Fujifilm X-T2 mirrorless camera. What kind of memory cards can I use with the new Fujifilm X-T2? Well, this guy is UHS-II compatible, so that means you can work with up to the 64 that I have here, which is a UHS-I, or 128 1000 speed. This is a UHS-II, and both slots, because you have two slots here, are compatible, so you can work with both of them. But remember, if you're only going to use one card, it always has to go into slot 1. But there we go, you can actually have one slot for RAW, another one for JPEG, one for video, one for stills. Gives you a lot of capabilities, and you can work with nice read-write speeds that are on the market now, because I mean, we have a 633 speed here and a 1000 speed there. So yes, you can work with some really fast memory cards. How do I shoot movies? I made it very simple. Here is your setting dial. All you have to do is move it over to where the little icon for a movie is. Activate your camera, and when you hit the record button, it starts recording. So right now I'm shooting a movie, a really bad one at that, obviously, since I don't have my exposure set correctly. So let me open up on my f-stop, and again, you do have your full-time manual focus over here, because I have it set to manual and autofocus. And then when you want to stop recording, depress the shutter again, and it stops and stores it. Is the body metal or plastic? It's actually a magnesium alloy. Very well constructed. I love the rubber gripping that they put on the sides. Again, this is weather sealed, so they did a really good job. Very well put together. Still lightweight, but feels nice and sturdy in the hand. Is this a full frame camera? No, this is an APS-C sensor, and I'll show you right here. Because of the fact that it is a mirrorless, that's where it lives. There's no reflex mirror, so it's right behind the lens, allowing us to work with, I think, much newer technology. Does it have Wi-Fi? Yes, it does. Fuji's been installing Wi-Fi in their cameras for quite a while now. Let's take a look here. Let's go into the camera setting modes, and you notice you have to scroll down to where it says Wi-Fi, and it tells you to start up the Wi-Fi app, which you should install in the in your appropriate app store. So you want to make sure you have that installed, and notice how you can connect it and disconnect it. So right now I have it off, but you can go ahead and download it and control and transfer your files right to your smartphone or tablet. And notice how this is the camera remote app. Again, you have to download this on your particular smartphone or tablet, depending again on whether you're working with iOS or Android. Does it have a built-in flash? No, they give you a really nice external flash, the EFX8. Very simple to work with. It just slides right on and push it into play. It uses the power from your existing battery, and notice when you go into the menu here, it already recognized that it has the supplied flash, and you can control your exposure whether you want to add a little bit more power up to 2 stops or cut it down. And I like the fact that it has the elevated system so that you don't receive red eye, even though it does also have red eye removal. And there's your sync where you can do first curtain or second curtain sync. And fire away. Pretty decent, pretty powerful flash. Again, it'll do the job for your standard 18 to 55 within a 3 to 10 meter distance. This flash that is supplied is great. Of course, there are some new flashes coming in the Fuji lineup, which will have wireless capability also. Does it come with an eye cup? Yes, actually they did a really nice eye cup. It's a very well constructed eye cup. Oh, gotta clean this guy up. I've put a lot of lint on it from my camera bag, but very well put together. Nice and compact, but gives you a nice rubber padding. Is this your typical kit lens? Nope, the X-T2 comes with a very advanced 18 to 55. Very well constructed. It feels great in the hand. This is sturdy. You can even set it so you can set the aperture on the actual lens like we used to do way back in the day. So this is a considerably much more advanced kit lens than your standard 18 to 55. This one is the EFS 18 to 55 IS stepping motor STM lens. Don't get me wrong, it's a good lens, but it's never going to be the Fuji one. It's considerably better. If you get a chance to purchase this camera with this lens, absolutely do so. You won't regret it because it'll be considerably more expensive later on. Does it have a panoramic mode? Yes, of all things, they actually put a panoramic mode in the X-T2. There's your setting tab to panoramic. Activate your camera. Well, hopefully you have a charged battery. Here we go. And now notice how it tells you in which direction you want to sweep. So I can actually switch it, and I can actually go from left to right, or I can do from bottom to top, top to bottom, or right to left. I'm going to do left to right, and I'm going to shoot but there is the panoramic, and the beauty of it is that it gives it to you right on the camera, and look, it actually plays it back. I mean, they didn't invent this, mind you. I've seen this in Sony cameras before, but it's a neat trick that we now have also on the Fuji X-T2. Does it have a touchscreen? No, this is not a touchscreen. They haven't gone into that, but their reasoning is Fujifilm states that this is how they can maintain the weather sealing. But I have to admit, this is a really nice screen, 3-inch, and you also have the capability of swinging it out. And notice how I can do this. I guess if you want to do vertical portrait shots, notice how easily this swings back and forth. So they did a great job, but it's still not a touchscreen. Does this camera have scene modes? No, it does not. You do have some automation. You can go ahead and lock this on A, which is your shutter speed dial, and you can also go ahead and set your lens to A over here, and now you have the camera setting the aperture and the shutter speed. That's it. You don't have particular scene modes, and to be honest with you, I think that Fujifilm came up with this camera for us photographers that are now used to working on full manual. So videographers and photographers that prefer working on manual on your camera, I believe that the X-T2 is definitely for you. Here are some advanced questions about how to use the new Fujifilm X-T2 mirrorless camera. How do I choose the focusing points in autofocus? Well, first we have to go back and make sure that we have it set to autofocus mode, whether you want it on continuous or single, not on manual. And then we're going to access our menu. So we click on the menu and notice how they have a section that says AF and MF for autofocus and manual, and scroll down to the number of focusing points, and you can switch it from 91 to 325. And then once you have the focusing points activated, by pressing the little toggle switch here, I can move it around and I can actually increase the size of the focusing area. So if I want to pinpoint a particular section, I can go ahead and lock it into that, and notice how it just focuses right there on that spot. So I'm going to move it to the background and have it focus back there. And notice how it did it perfectly. It brought it back into focus. I can move it forward, and let's choose the X-T2 logo on the box, and it brings that into focus right away. What is the highest ISO on the X-T2? Well, and they made it nice and easy to get a hold of. Here is your ISO dial, an actual dial, and it's 12,800. And again, press a button and you can set it to particular ISO you choose, or you can also set it to auto, low, or high. How do I set my image size? Well, it's all still done in the menu. We're going to activate the menu and go over to where it says IQ, and notice where it says image size. You can go ahead and set it depending on the resolution that you have. It shows you how many images you can cover. So if I go to large at 3:2 ratio, I got enough room for 2,137. And again, you can go ahead and change it from fine to normal to fine and raw, normal, raw. I'll go with fine and raw, but that's now going to knock it down to just 1,250 shots. And this is on a 32 gigabyte card. Obviously, this is a camera that merits larger cards, or remember, you do have a dual card slot. Can I do manual focus? Absolutely, and they made it simple. Notice how in the front here, you have a focusing dial selector. So you set it to M for manual, and now let's turn on the camera, and I can go ahead and zoom and manually focus with the front dial ring right here. So this ring now allows you to do manual focus. Notice how I can bring it in and out of focus at will. Can I use my NPS 120 battery? Yes, you can still use the standard NPS 120 battery, but of course here they're giving you the newer NPW126S version. The S version gives you a little bit higher milliamp, and I think they've perfected it due to the fact that now we're doing 4K video recording. So it gives you a little bit more extra power. Does it weigh as much as a full frame camera? No. For example, here I have a very popular full frame, the Canon EOS 6D, with a similar perspective lens. These are 24 to 105 compared to the 18 to 55 in a crop sensor, and this weighs 0.26 pounds, and this is almost 2 pounds worth of gear right here. So honestly, no. This is the reason why a lot of us are starting to switch over. We're getting great quality in a nice small package. Does it shoot 4K at 60 frames per second? No, I'm afraid not. It only does it at 30 frames per second. And notice how we have our menu set up for video here, activated, and then you go into movie mode, and here are your different settings. I can do 60 frames per second if I choose to shoot at full HD at 1080, but as soon as I bump up to the ultra high definition like the 4K, notice how it moves up to 29.97, which again, that's 30 frames per second. And remember, this records in MPEG-4 AV and H.264. Does it have a built-in audio level for your audio recording? Yes, they gave you lots of override features. Let's go into the menu and notice there it is right there. So it's actually telling you that this is your audio level, and you can go ahead and set that in your menu depending on the level that you choose to. And you can adjust the mic level to your preferred setting. Once you get it to the mode that you want or the level that you want, just hit the OK button and it's set for you. Can my Canon or Nikon flash work with the X-T2? Well, any flash will work with it. It really doesn't matter. But if you're looking for TTL, and here's a perfect misconception. I've been reading on the internet that people are saying, oh no, your Nikon-based flash, and here I have a Nikon mount Altura, will work perfectly on TTL with it. I'm afraid not. There's two contacts there that are pretty much specific to Fuji, and they will not synchronize on TTL. And I'll show you, because now when I turn on my camera, and let me get into the menu, scroll down to the flash menu, and notice how as soon as I go into flash function settings, it already set itself to flash sync manual. So it knows that this is not a TTL, even though I have it set to TTL for Nikon. Makes no difference. So it's best to work with your flash on manual, because that's the only way you're going to get the proper exposure. It will fire, and it works perfectly, but notice how it fires at full blast. So you have to do your settings. You cannot control it through TTL on your X-T2 unless you have a Fuji-based flash. Does it have a microphone input? Yes, it does. Right on the side here. And notice with the designation, tells you the top portion is a mic jack for the standard input. So that way you can work with your favorite condenser. And very important, it has to be powered. This does not provide bus power to the mic. So you cannot use microphones that don't have their own power source. But it will accept an external microphone for better audio recording. Can I shoot at a high frame rate? Absolutely. This guy shoots at 8 frames per second in RAW. So if you want to set your dial to CH for continuous high. Of course, you want to work at a relatively high shutter speed, like 1/500th of a second or higher. And as long as I hold this shutter down, that's 8 frames per second, again, even in RAW. So yes, you can stop action with the X-T2. Can I record 4K video out through HDMI? Absolutely. Fuji really took to 4K video recording on this model. Notice how you have your 4K movie output. You can switch it to SD card, to clean HDMI, or HDMI with F-Log. So, yep, you absolutely have full control for your 4K recording capability. How do I set my film simulation modes? Well, there's two ways. You can use the Q menu if you have these guys memorized. Notice how I can go ahead and change the different film types by checking right here. All I'm doing is turning the control wheel, and then that sets it. But if you don't have these guys memorized, like obviously I don't, we're going to go in here and then go into the menu where it says film simulation, and here you have all the different settings. So there's your Provia, there's your Velvia, Astia, Classic Chrome, Professional Negative High, Professional Negative Standard, Acros for black and white, Monochrome with a green filter, and Sepia. So here are all your different film simulations all in one folder.